Honorable Men Discord. G20 versus men. Let's talk about it. All right, so let's get straight to it. There was a movie that was released on April 10th, if I'm not mistaken, called G20, starring Academy Award winner Viola Davis. And when I saw the trailer, I'll be honest with you, I immediately rolled my eyes to a degree. I said to myself, "Oh, here we go again. Here we go again." And by all means, if anyone disagrees with anything that I'm about to say, I'll see you in the comments. If you agree with it, hit that thumbs up, hit that like. Let me know that you agree with what I'm saying. If you disagree, obviously hit the thumbs down, right? But I'm gonna get straight to it. Um, Viola Davis, an amazing actor, obviously Academy Award winner, amazing actor. She definitely takes her craft seriously, and I'm not trying to downplay her work ethic or her work. This is more about what I feel is an agenda in Hollywood, and this is not the first time, right? An agenda to basically dethrone men. And if I'm reaching, I'll see you in the comments. You can say, "Oh, here you go again. There's always something with this guy. He's reaching now. He's saying dethrone men." Yes, I'm gonna say dethrone men, and hear me out on my take. And I thought about this long and hard throughout the day on the angle I was gonna present with my case. And first and foremost, when I saw this trailer, immediately I thought of Die Hard. And oddly enough, I came across an article where they expressed that it had a Die Hard feel to it, because in Die Hard, if you don't know about that movie, that was starring Bruce Willis. Matter of fact, let me I want to be factual with this, all right? Die Hard. When did it come out? Not Die Hard 2, just Die Hard in general. Okay, Die Hard came out in 1988, and that was starring Bruce Willis. If you haven't seen it, it's an oldie. I'm Unk, so many of you may or may not have seen the movie. If you haven't seen it, it's definitely worth watching. It went on to have a Die Hard 2 and I believe a 3. To be honest with you, I'm concentrating on Die Hard because I don't really believe the other ones were as good. But getting back to Die Hard, the 1988 movie, action thriller, was about Bruce Willis. I believe he's a police officer, and he went to a Christmas party of a place where his wife worked. And while attending that Christmas party, something happened, and there were some thieves looking to rob something from the building, and held his wife along with the party goers hostage. And Bruce Willis, being that alpha male police officer, he did all that he could to make sure his wife was safe, as well as the party goers. That's just a brief breakdown of the movie. I don't know how great I did of breaking the movie down, but that's Die Hard, right? So when I saw the trailer for Viola Davis's G20, I immediately said, let me get that poster up. I immediately said, "Oh, this is a type of Die Hard movie, but with the female as the protagonist, right?" Which, hear me out now. This is Hollywood. It's make believe. So in light of it being a Hollywood film and it being make believe, there's nothing wrong with it. But here's the thing. I feel like there's also an undertone and uh, uh, hidden message within the movie that is trying to be promoted through various writers and producers in Hollywood. And what message am I talking about? It's the message of woman empowerment and basically dethroning men in their roles, right? And if you disagree with me, that's fine. I'll see you in the comments. But for me as a man, and I can only speak for myself, if anyone agrees, again, hit the like button, but do more than just hit the like button. Please express yourself within the comments. I see it as women trying to dethrone men because in this world that they created in G20, within the trailer, you see Viola Davis basically kicking ass in a dress. Now it's fictional, but I'm personally not moved to see it. You know, there was a scene where she in the elevator, she's wearing a dress, she's kicking ass, and the people whose asses she's kicking, from what I saw in the trailer, they look like, I guess you could say, sort of like Navy SEAL type of guys. Suited up with the high powered machinery and everything ready to go, and she's kicking their ass. One scene, it looked like she was in a kitchen or something like that. Some guy had a tank top on. He looked like he was solid. She's having her way with him also, and she's putting his face on the stove or something like that. And I'm just like, Then you also have images of her husband, who's the first. I forgot what they call his title, because he's not the first lady, obviously. The first gentleman. He's hogtied to a chair as he awaits her to save him. That part, honestly, I'm just looking at the film like I could care less about seeing it. I'll be honest with you. And that's just my stance on it. Why? Because in the grand scheme of things, you want me to believe that the female president is also Rambo. Okay? Call me sexist, but I'm just not buying the story. Can they be a female president? Absolutely. Because now we're talking about a role that involves intelligence. And intelligence is not reserved for just male or female, right? So can there be a female president? Absolutely. Can there be a female president that's also like Rambo? Absolutely not, right? And I think this movie would have been better suited being a comedy. And if you're a female coming across this video, if that offends you that I'm saying that, so be it. Express your disagreement in the comments respectfully. I think it would have been better suited as a comedy. But the crazy thing about it is that they're making this a full. Let me see. They're making this. All right. They have this down as action thriller, right? Which is the same way Die Hard was listed. Die Hard was listed as action theater. I'm sorry, thriller, action thriller. And I just deleted the Die Hard feed that I looked up, but hear me out. So Die Hard, the reason why Die Hard is believable, even though it's far-fetched and both movies are fictional, is that Bruce Willis being the male cop, he's fighting against several trained thieves in that building during a Christmas party. And although the real fictional thing with the Bruce Willis movie, outside of the fact that he's swinging from ropes and on outside of the building, and he's doing a bunch of superhuman, I guess, feats inside the building. The one thing that's believable is a man up against men. Now, could one man beat an entire group of men? Most likely not, especially when they're armed and they're trained and all that stuff that's within the Die Hard movie. What's hard to believe is that a female who's a president. Once again, they're putting two things in one movie that is just like, okay, the president, I got you on that. But now to say she's a president and she's saving a family, she's ripped and she's kicking ass all over the place. She's leading men out of the building. I'm just like, I just can't. I can't. You can't sell it to me. I mean, I'll watch it on the Fire Stick. I just can't see me going to the theater. I'm not even sure if this is in the theater or this was a straight to Netflix. I'm not sure. You just can't sell it to me. Fellas, if you agree, hit the like button. Express why you can't. You're not buying it. I'm just not buying it. I'm sorry, Viola. I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. I stand on my thoughts on this, and I know this has nothing to do with Viola because she's just an actor playing a role that she was casted in, but I'm just not buying it. Anthony Anderson taking the role as the first gentleman, I'm not surprised, because what other black male would take that role? And I like Anthony Anderson, but I'm just being honest. Would Tyrese take the role as a first gentleman whilst he's hogtied waiting for his president / Rambo wife to save him? Probably not. But then I don't know because sometimes some of these male actors take roles based on what they got going on financially. But am I gonna be taking a role like that? If that's my first acting job, I'd consider it because obviously for the exposure. So I know that kind of sounds like I'm being a hypocrite, but if I'm an established actor, I just wouldn't care for a role like that. I would say, I would ask, is it a comedy? Because if it's a comedy, that's different. But you have this as an action thriller, and you want to really sell the idea of a female president slash Rambo. And I'm not saying the Rambo to be funny. That's pretty much what's going on here. Because what else could I compare it to? With female president slash assassin, female president. What is she? Female assassin. I'm sorry, female president slash James Bondish type of thing, or Tom Cruise Mission Impossible. What is going on here? So just to be thorough, I said, let me see who was behind this type of movie, right? So we have the director whose name is Patricia Riggin, and I said, let me see Patricia Riggin. All right, it says Patricia Riggin is recognized as one of America's leading female Latinx directors. I never even heard of that word before, Latinx. Maybe some of you have heard of it. I never heard of it. It says she seamlessly directs films and television across genres, from her latest action thriller G20 starring Viola Davis to her Sundance success La Misma Luna and the Sony Pictures box office hit Miracles from Heaven starring Jennifer Garner. Regardless of genre, scope, or medium, she brings humanity. I have to see the rest of this. Let me see. She brings humanity to every character and story she tells. Okay. So let me just go back on this. So the reason why I'm bringing this up is because when I saw the type of trailer that they put out, I said, let me see who directed and wrote this thing, because I wouldn't be surprised if it was females that wrote this. And I'm not surprised. So we have Caitlin Parrish, who's the screenplay, who was part of the team that wrote the screenplay, because there's a few writers here. So let's look at Caitlin Parrish. No picture for Caitlin Parrish, but we do see Caitlin Parrish is known for Supergirl, The View from Tall, and G20, right? Supergirl. I looked up the poster for Supergirl, and it looks like this movie has the females as the protagonists. Obviously, it's called Supergirl, but there's co-stars that are females, so I see what's going on here. Now, if I'm reaching, by all means, I'll see you in the comments, right? Let's go on. Then you have Erica West, right? She's also known for G20, The View from Tall. View from Tall, I don't know what this is. Never saw it. If anyone has seen it, please tell me about it and what the movie's about. I'm not really trying to get into details on the movies that these writers were part of. She's also part of the Red Line. Okay, Red Line, never heard of it, but okay. And when I say never heard of it, I'm not trying to be funny. I'm just really honestly trying to be fair in this discussion, because I'm interested in where they're going with this movie. So Logan Miller, no picture for Logan. He's responsible for he or she, because Logan could be a unisex name, for Sweetwater, Touching Home, White Boy Rick, which I really liked. I liked that movie a lot. 2018, White Boy Rick. That was a good movie. Noah Miller. I don't know if Logan Miller and Noah Miller are related, but Touching Home, White Boy Rick, G20. No picture on them. And yeah, so the screenplay and the story, Logan Miller and Noah Miller had something to play with those things. Right? So again, so now with this whole G20 being an action thriller, much like Die Hard, again, I think it would have been better suited if it was a comedy, because at least for me, if you're trying to sell it to a male, you want me to believe that Viola Davis is the president and a Rambo type figure, where she's kicking ass whilst her husband is hogtied. I personally don't, as a man, I don't like the message, because on no given day, if my wife was the president, am I looking for her to save me? Now, there's a difference between saving me and coming to my aid. There's a difference with that. Can a female come to my aid? Absolutely. But am I looking for a female to save me per se, where I'm hogtied? Now, granted, if I'm hogtied and it for whatever reason a group of men took over and there was nothing I could do and I'm hogtied, I'm gonna want her to come to my aid. Maybe it's just a play on words. Maybe it sounds better, but I would want her to come to my aid, get in contact with those that could help me. I'm not expecting my wife on no occasion to strap up with arms and think she's going to kick ass on all the guys that have me captive. Not in a real situation. Well, not in a fake situation, and definitely not in a real situation. Call me sexist. I stand on it. I'm just not liking where this movie's going. I personally would have preferred if it was a comedy, like labeled as a comedy, because then I'd be like, okay, let me see that, let me check this out. But again, Viola Davis fighting in her dress. At some point, I think she takes her heels off and she has flats. Even still, that's not gonna give you a better shot at taking on an army of men. I'm sorry. Again, call me sexist. I just stand on this. So check this out. So I again, as I was processing this thing throughout the day, I said, you know what? The first movie that came to mind, and again, I'm Unc, so I know a lot of old movies. I've been watching film for a long time. I thought of Three Men and a Baby. This was shot back in 1987, comedy slash family, and it's with Tom Selleck in the middle. I don't remember the other gentlemen, but they are also well-known actors. But Tom Selleck in the middle with the baby. The reason why this movie worked is because it was three men that that were raising a baby, and the movie played on the fact that men aren't better nurturers and caretakers of babies like a woman is, which is why it worked as a comedy, because that was the whole spin and the whole point of the whole movie. It's showing, like, listen, the reality of men being able to handle the job that many women are great at is comical, because we're not that great at it at all, and we could admit that. Now, if a female in 2025 finds that offensive, I'm actually giving you the kudos for the amazing job you women do, you mothers do out there, you grandmothers, you aunts, you do an amazing job. Can men stack up to what it is that you all do? Not, I don't think so. They can, some can. There's a small percentage that can, but for the most part, we can, which is why it worked when they put that out in 1987. It was a huge success. Three Men and a Baby. In the same regard as Three Men and a Baby, if G20 took that route and it was labeled a comedy, I think the movie would be a hit. It's probably going to be a hit regardless, because in 2025 we have a whole feminist movement, and we have women that due to the rise of financial success and things of that nature, and social media, and just the freedoms that they have, G20 is most likely going to be a success. And I'm not wishing that the movie is a failure. I'm just pointing out the fact that as far as a man's concerned, or men's concerned, I don't believe most men are buying the whole G20 movie. Will some men see it? Most likely they will. I don't know who's for it and who's not for it. And again, I'm not saying I'm not going to watch it. I'm just going to wait for it to come on the Fire Stick. I'm definitely not going in the theater to watch it, because I know there's an undertone behind it. And can I be wrong? I could always be wrong. I could always be wrong. I could be wrong about it. But can I be right? I can also be right. And I'm standing on the possibility of me being right on this, right? And I just think that it's, again, trying to propel that whole idea of men being replaceable and men not having a legitimate role anymore as they used to in 2025. It's just the removal of the male figure, and it's like, you guys could take the back seat, because we could also do this. We can not only be, this is the message I'm seeing from the trailer, we could not only be president, but we could also be the female Rambo. We can save the day. So we can be nurturer. They just want to, it's almost as if this movie is showing that we can do it all. Whereas when you think about Die Hard wasn't saying we can do it all. Die Hard was the man who was a cop, who was in town for the Christmas party for his wife's job, and he was saving the day, which again is not too far-fetched when it's men up against men. Again, hate me for saying all of this, but the likelihood of a female up against trained men and being able to conquer them is extremely slim. And that's even a trained female. You could put a trained female on any level against a group of trained men, and my money's on the men. And that's not me being sexist. That's just me living in reality. Okay. All right. Trained fighter up against a group of trained fighters that are males. I mean, trained female fighter up against a group of trained male fighters, and the female loses every time, in my opinion. And if the and she wins, I don't know, maybe God was on her side, and I'm not even trying to be funny. That's just how I see it. But that's my take on G20 versus men. If you hate me for having this episode, tell me why you hate me for making this episode. But did I make a real point, or am I just talking to be talking? That's just my take on it. Again, I'm not saying that I don't wish the film to not be successful, because it doesn't make or break what it is that I do in my personal life. And again, Viola Davis is a great actor, so kudos to her. But I personally see what they're trying to do with this, and I'll leave it for the fire stick. But that's my take on the movie. As always, I appreciate everyone for tuning in. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next episode. Take care.